This man went crazy. He pushed the TV down from the upper floor. With a loud crash, the man was extremely excited, but the security guard didn't notice at all. The man waited for a long time. The security guard still didn't show up, so he picked up a pot, started hitting the railing, but it didn't work either. Desperate and out of options, he had to pick up a piece of iron, trying to saw through the railing. He worked for 5 hours. In the end, he only made a small scratch. The man couldn't take it anymore, kicked the railing like a madman to vent his anger. When the railing broke, he saw hope again. First, he pulled open the broken gap, then he climbed out resolutely, but as soon as he got out, he started to regret it a little. At a height of hundreds of meters, just one glance made him start trembling, but by now, he had no way back. He could only bite the bullet and keep climbing down. Every step, he gripped the railing tightly, then tested his footing carefully. After constant groping, he finally climbed to the 31st floor. When he stretched out his foot out of habit, ready to continue as planned, an unexpected accident happened. That floor had no railing at all. He quickly pulled his leg back and climbed up again. He panted heavily, didn't dare to relax for a second. One mistake would make him smash into pieces. In this critical moment, he unbuckled his belt, then squatted down slowly. With no protective measures at all, he tied the belt to the railing. After confirming it was securely fastened, he started moving downward. Soon he reached the bottom of this floor. The man let go of his hand, using the belt to suspend his body high up in the air. He kicked hard downward with his feet. Finally, his foot stepped on the railing. He let out a long sigh of relief, but a new problem arose. This floor had no balcony. He could only move slowly. One small mistake would ruin everything. He slipped a little when he reached the corner. Luckily, he stabilized himself in time. After a while longer, the man reached the side of the balcony. He pressed his body against the wall, then stepped out with his leg. Finally, he made it to the 30th floor. He reached out to push the window, but no matter how hard he tried, it didn't move an inch. So he changed his method, started kicking the window with his foot. Soon the glass window was kicked in. The man rushed to the door quickly. With a nervous feeling, he turned the doorknob. He was finally rescued. The man's mood at this moment couldn't be described with words. The security guard looked at him in surprise, but he didn't care anymore. Now he just wanted to go home. The man was freezing to death, but he took off all his clothes, curled up naked in the snow. His teeth chattered from the cold. He could only blow on his palms, but it did nothing for him. He didn't put his clothes back on. Instead, he looked at the plastic bag in his hand, then stared at the ground, and made a difficult decision. He poured out the flour in the bag, filled it completely with snow, and held it tightly in his arms. By nightfall, the snow hadn't melted at all. Worse still, his clothes were still wet. His pent-up emotions finally erupted. He roared about his misfortune. Just then, he saw a villa on the top of the mountain. The man danced with excitement. To preserve body heat, he had no choice but to put on the wet clothes. Then he hit the big trees to collect dry bark. After doing all this, he fell into a deep sleep. On the morning of the 3rd day, he finally drank fresh water, then checked his phone and radio. Luckily, neither of them had shut down. Everything was ready. The man set off excitedly for the mountaintop. As time passed, his vision began to blur. Hunger swept over his entire body. He walked purely on instinct. When he was almost at the mountaintop, he was completely stunned. There was no sign of the villa at all. It was just an illusion, born out of his despair. Devastated, he stumbled and fell to the ground, losing the will to survive. When he woke up again, it was already the morning of the 4th day. He tried to stand up, but fell again. A sharp pain shot through his right leg. The man rolled up his pants leg and saw his sock covered in blood. Even his calf was purple. He realized he couldn't wait any longer. He had to treat the wound. He gritted his teeth and tore off the sock suddenly. The wound was torn open instantly. Pain spread all over his body. He didn't care about anything else. He tore off a piece of flesh, struggled for a long time, and finally put it in his mouth. After resting for a while, he started walking again. Suddenly, from above, came the roar of a helicopter. Great! It was the search and rescue team. He shouted for help loudly, but the distance was too far. He turned on the radio again, hoping they could pick up the signal, but it was all in vain. He watched the helicopter leave helplessly. In despair, the man seemed to see his mother. If he died like this, what would happen to her mother? Somehow, he held on until the 8th day. He didn't want to wait for death here, so he continued climbing towards the mountaintop. He was almost there, but the next second, he collapsed from exhaustion. He didn't wake up until much later. The radio still had no signal, and it was about to shut down. He didn't scream or shout. Instead, he calmly left his last words and took one final look at the snow-capped mountains. Just as he was about to face death, the radio finally picked up a signal.